Good afternoon, everybody. It is the afternoon of March the 5th. I was out moving snow again. I went up and had coffee with my grandma Jean, who lives nearby my parents' place, and I go up there for coffee all the time. And we sat and chatted a little bit more about the experience in Ottawa, and she gave me her perspective on things that had happened. And she said, "Well, what's the next step? Because everybody's wanting to know, where's the convoy going to go next, or where's the next protest? What's the next thing we got to do?" And we couldn't really come up with a solid answer, but we did come up with some things we shouldn't do, and then from that we did come up with a list of things we should do. So I think we really need to stop worrying about where convoys are and where the next protest is going to be and those kind of things, and we should start worrying about what we as individual people can do. We saw what happened when a group of us went to Ottawa and made our voices heard. It caused all kinds of problems there, and the biggest word that was constantly said there was unity, unity, unity. We weren't worrying about our skin colors, and we weren't worrying about any of our differences in race or gender or religious beliefs or anything, and all we were worried about was getting freedom back for Canada. And I think that is actually our next step, is to stop being worried about all of our little division things and our differences with all of our fellow patriots from this point forward. That we're in all of our actions, everything that we do, every time we interact with one of our fellow Canadians, we need to see, are we causing division or are we causing unity? And by our actions, are we causing them to do the same thing? Because the most important thing right now is for us to realize that we are not a divided nation. We're not a nation of divided peoples who are against each other. As long as we're divided against each other, we're really easy to bring down and to take freedoms away and do those kinds of things. And our government, and actually a lot of governments in the past, both provincial and federal, and even down to our municipal levels even, have been driving a wedge between people with any kind of difference. They've been trying to make people feel that they are different than someone else, which makes them better or worse, and that the other person is the problem, and pitting us against each other constantly. And what we need to do is to be the better person in all of those situations, regardless of which side you end up on, and put those differences aside and realize that we, at this point in our time, we need to realize that it's kind of us against our government, that we haven't stood up to them for so long, and we've played their game. We've done as they've asked, so to speak. We've been their pawn in their big game, especially on the globalist scale, but we'll leave that alone for right now. And we need to realize that us people need to work together and to come together, and not with an end goal of, make the Prime Minister resign. Like, it's not going to do anything. It really isn't. Or we need to get these officials to resign, or we need to make these big political changes, or we have this crazy ideology that needs to be pushed through. It's not going to do anything, and chances of that happening are really slim anyways. What we need to do is get the people at the grassroots level to be together again. And I touched on this when I was talking about Quebecers and Albertans. And that is just one of many examples of people in this country who are divided against each other, and who, once you get them together to talk about it, they aren't really divided against each other. They've just been told that they are by their governments. And so we need to get past those things so that we can become a unified people again. Because if we're a unified people with unified goals, despite our differences, then there's not much that the government can do. If it's a unified people who we know where the other person on the street, we know where they stand and what they stand for. If we know that, and the whole country knows that, and we have a good set of values and beliefs that is based on, then there's nothing that a tyrannical government can do if the people are united. So when people if you yourself are thinking, what's the next step? Where's the next protest? Where's this? Where's that? We got to get Trudeau to resign or anything like that. You got to start thinking a little bit bigger. Think of what's actually realistic and what's possible. The convoy to Ottawa was a ground-up grassroots movement, and it was so hard to kill and to stop, and actually it wasn't stopped, because it is grassroots. You can't just cut the head off the snake and it's dead, because in a lot of the cases there was no head. It was just a great big giant snake, and everything they tried to do to it to snuff it out just made it stronger. And that's the same way we as people need to be. Come together as a common goal, and then there won't be a way to stop us from trying to live a free life with our Charter of Rights and all those kinds of things as Canada was supposed to be. So that is the next step going forward, is to essentially love your neighbor as yourself. We need to get over our petty little differences, whatever they may be, and get on with being Canadian and realize that we've got a much bigger game to play here than to worry about which bathroom people want to use or to worry about which church people want to go to. And we need to start worrying about, do we still want to live in this country and do we still believe in what it stands for? So that is my message for today.